you mean I've got to be behind the ball? That's my job. I'm in front. Man, if anyone touched Benny, I'd put him to sleep. They're going to sleep. 9 nights. And I thought they let Latrell down by allowing him to do that. And I think, therefore, thinking that he was above the game. Todd Carney. Mitchell Pearce. Mitchell's turn. Brad Fittler. No!
This is the maddest place on the planet.
Dancing.
The only show where you're allowed to do it without shoes on.
Andrew Johns, one of the greatest players of all time.
Cuddles and kisses go a long way, especially when you're in trouble.
Oh, the horse has bolted. Look at the big fellow go in.
Imagine if he wanted to fire. They're very horny and very aggressive.
Are we allowed to put that to wear?
Sydney, stay classy.
I love everyone for making me feel this good.
Welcome to Freddie and the Eighth. Great to be back after a month away because of the Olympics, but we are back in the nick of time because there's only 3 rounds to go until we're into the finals for 2024. Very exciting. Great to see my men, Andrew Johns and Brad Fittler.
Well done.
Well, boys?
You had a haircut. Your hair looks different. You've
I
got
had a
French,
haircut yesterday.
Parisian influence.
I had a Hornsby haircut yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And looking like Black Sabbath,
Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne. I like it. Looking good.
Thanks,
Haircut, new, bang.
Well, it's
Streetwear.
nothing different to what I would normally wear, but anyhow.
That's good. You single or something?
Not that I'm aware. If my wife only got back from overseas this morning, actually. She came with me and she...
You left her over there.
Well, she decided to stay. Yeah, maybe I should be getting the picture. She went to Amsterdam. She seems in reasonable nick. Everything
She
good?
come home with a Cheech and Chong shirt.
Did you see the roast of Tom Brady?
No.
I've heard about it.
It was unreal.
Yeah.
And I was saying to Tom Brady, mate, you didn't get the tip. Your wife, Giselle, she was doing like boxing. She ended up sort of going out with a karate bloke. She goes, mate, she was doing boxing 3 times a day. You didn't get the tip, mate.
It took the piss out of him, mate.
Oh, hammered him.
What
Mate, you
did-
got to watch
And
it.
did he wear it? Did he?
Oh, it was great.
Hang on, did that actually happen?
Yes.
Tom Brady's missus left him.
So they split up and she ended up with the
It's her name Gazelle.
Giselle Butchen.
The supermodel.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're going, Tom, didn't it
But who-
register,
who's
mate?
rough?
She's
Was
doing
she-
karate 3 times a day.
Was she boxing with Jeff Fennick? Hey, Jeff. Jeff loves this show. Well, she boxing with Johnny Lewis. She's left Tom Brady for Johnny Lewis.
So is this a new development?
I'm
not really up on
I've got
roast.
this off the roast.
Yeah, right.
They hammer him.
All right.
It's very good. Very good.
So how's it been in my absence? Good to see the place
We
is
haven't done
still
anything.
standing.
We haven't done anything. It's
Yeah, I
been
know.
great.
The
Footy's been all right.
Yeah,
Strong.
footy's good.
What about the scorelines? Like so many points. More than usual, I reckon.
And all teams. I think teams are pretty wounded.
What do you put that down to
I'll put
the
it just
attrition?
down. Yeah, teams are wounded.
I love it. Higher scores, the better. More attack, the better.
A little bit more unpredictable.
You watched all the Olympics, I understand? Glued to it? What about you?
Watched a lot.
Yeah. Early in the morning, the swimming finals, but worth getting up for. We were fantastic.
I wasn't getting up early. I was getting up and seeing the replays.
Yep.
But I was.
I got to
watching it at
say,
night until
by
about
all accounts, all my friends, every one of them said you did a great job, Tomo.
Thank you very much.
No,
So
I'm in a fair income department. They said you were excellent.
I appreciate that. So this is La Défense Arena where they held the swimming, but where the competition pool was, there was the media bank, and then behind there was a warm-up pool. So that's actually an indoor rugby union field.
Really?
It holds 30-odd thousand for an indoor
I thought
game
it
of
was
rugby.
a tennis court. That was a pool there.
That's a pool. That's the pool there behind me.
I was with you. It looked like a tennis.
So and the noise in there, it was like spine tingling. Like it's so loud. You know, you're in those environments where it's so loud you kind of physically get moved. It was incredible atmosphere.
Like
So-
DCMs back in
Yeah, that's right.
So what do
exactly
they do?
what I was thinking.
You're saying it's a rugby
That's
union
a rugby
field.
union field.
So do they put the field on top of the
So
pool, or they made the pool?
no, the pool is brought in. So that's actually above ground level. That they put the pool on top of the ground
That's why they
and build
reckon they didn't
around
break
it.
records, didn't it? Because it wasn't deep enough. They
Well,
reckon
that
it
was
shallow.
all that sort of talk, yeah. But that holds 30-something thousand. Racing 92 was the French club team that play rugby there.
union.
And that's the largest indoor arena in Europe. And they've had Taylor Swift played there. Taylor Swift played a concert there, and then she bumped out, and then they started putting the competition pool in about 6 weeks before. So it was a fabulous venue. I went to the track and field. I was there when Nina Kennedy won gold. That's a hell of a stadium, Stade de France. Did you go there?
I went there last
Yeah.
year. You know what? It's too far out of town. You got to go. It was like 45 minutes. By the time I got there, I was ready to go home again.
Sounds like Homebush to Sydney.
Further.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Further.
It's 20 minutes on the train.
We went there for, we went and watched. Andy Farrell, he was coaching Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
They played Scotland. Ireland were the red hot favourites, and it was boring. It was that boring. It was a killer of a game. But Ireland ended up winning. We left at half time.
We're here to talk about rugby league, but I actually watched a bit of the Wallabies on Saturday.
How'd they go?
Mate, why do they always kick the ball? They never run the ball anymore. Never. Have you watched any rugby recently?
No.
They just, every time Australia had it, they just kick it.
That's why they get beat. It's hard to score when you haven't got
Oh,
the ball.
they'd make half a break and kick the ball. I'm just like, can someone run the ball? Anyway, but it was a great experience. Great to be back for the footy, though. We're right into the meat of the season now. So who's hot and who's not leading into the finals? I reckon the 8, except maybe the 8th spot is set, but the 4 isn't, particularly if the Dragons beat the Sharks this week. And everyone seems to be tipping them to do that down in Wollongong. Yeah. We'll see that on Sunday. So Cronulla on 34, Dogs 32, Manly 31. This is, as it stands, as it would be round 1 of the finals if it didn't move. So that's a...
Well, I reckon the Dogs will move
line.
up into the Sharks, and then I think also the Roosters will get the home semi against Penrith. They both play the same teams the last 3 weeks. I just feel like Penrith may drop one in that period. I don't think the Roosters will. The Seagulls, I don't think it'll matter because I think Canterbury will keep winning. I think the Roosters will keep winning. So the Seagulls will end up 6th.
Yeah, unless
Penrith,
Canterbury drop a game.
Sorry, Sharks 5th, Seagulls 6th.
So you're saying you think Canterbury might finish in the 4?
Well, they've only got to win one.
Well,
If they win one and Cronulla lose, they're
equal on points.
Yeah,
Equal
but
on
they're
points.
4 and against.
No, the
actually,
Sharks
no.
4 against is better.
The Sharks
it?
4 and
Yeah, it's about 30 points better.
It's the same with the Roosters. Their 4 and against is better than Penrith.
They got the best in the comp by quite a way. So maybe a little bit of movement there. And then 8th position is the interesting one with the Dragons and
Big difference.
I think the
46
Dragons.
Dolphins,
Sharkies.
etc.
The Dragons will be 8th. Story of the year, the Dogs.
Who have the Sharks got to go? So they've got this week,
The Sharks eventually play Manly.
they've got Dragons.
Well,
That's
there
right.
you are.
That's the
That
big
could
one.
decide it. That
So
could
they've got
decide
the
it.
Dragons, the Warriors, then Manly. And this week,
Down in Wollongong.
the Dragons have been good. They beat Melbourne a couple of weeks ago. Melbourne have been the standouts. Haven't been playing great, but they've beat them all. Like recently, they beat the Roosters. They beat Canterbury not long ago. They beat Penrith on the weekend. They've beat all the good teams.
And they're getting pretty much everyone. Christian Welch will be back soon, won't he?
No, he was named on extended bench.
Yeah.
Is Coates in this week?
No, he's not named.
He'll be back soon.
So he'll
though.
be back in a week or two.
But the big one is they've got Papenhuyzen and Munster. They've been back and playing well.
Munster was
last week
outstanding against Penrith.
Yeah.
So can Canterbury win the thing?
No. No, not this year. Next year. I just don't. To go in the semis, you got to go up. You got to go up a gear. I don't know if they've got enough points in them. Defensively, very strong.
How much more have they got to go up, though, on what they're producing now?
Well, that's why in big games you got to find another gear, and the best teams and the best players do.
They have been beat by all the good teams. So they haven't really beat anyone above them.
They'll
beat
be
the Roosters-
thereabouts.
They beat the Roosters earlier in that game that ended up a really high-scoring game at a core stadium. They got beat by Melbourne, beat by Penrith.
Okay, I'll ask you this.
They beat Cronulla by a field goal.
Well, can I put this one to you before you do? If they finish 4th
Yeah.
and they play Melbourne week 1, I'd be tipping Canterbury to beat them.
No.
Okay.
I think
Well, let's
Melbourne
have a
are
bet on
the
that.
standouts.
Well, let's see whether it happens first.
Okay.
You reckon they're going to go to Melbourne? And
Well,
beat
to win a
Melbourne
comp,
together?
okay, to win a comp for the Dogs, could they beat Melbourne, Penrith?
Week off.
I'm just saying hypothetically. Could they beat Melbourne, Penrith, and the Roosters 3 weeks in a row? No.
So it's
So
next up.
Next
Sharkies-
year, however, next year it's a different story. I just think this year, I don't know if they got the class in the key positions, and when they get to the semi, to go up there. Where Penrith, their players, Roosters have, Melbourne have.
I'll tell you what would be interesting.
Even Manly, they have players you can.
Like they're 46. The one thing they've been doing is when they get on top of a team, they score late. Canterbury, they've just been, sort of just draining teams.
Do you think they're
they
the
got
fittest
30
team?
on the weekend.
Do you think they're the fittest team in the comp?
Well, I think what they do is they're one of the most disciplined. They've got a really basic game plan. You know, they kick into that corner and they just go down and back themselves and they compete.
That's a good point because that was a pretty tight game on the weekend against the Dolphins.
It was tight for a long
But in
time.
the end, they just went whack, whack, whack
Yeah.
and put them
Late
away by
drives,
20.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting how they go against the Warriors. Like if the Warriors
Are on.
turn it up, if
Yeah.
Warriors turn it up, which they're capable of doing, mate, they've got 46 points they've got to get to catch Cronulla, which
Yeah,
in
okay.
3 games is possible.
They're not
I
gonna
don't think
turn it up
Cronulla
at-
will lose 2.
Not going to turn it up at Sean Johnson Stadium this week, are they? That gives them something to play for.
That'll be a tough game over there. As you said, the Warriors on paper are really strong.
Got a good team.
Be a good game.
Now, a lot of people are writing Cronulla off, and their finals record the last few years has been pretty ordinary. But I'm wondering, the last 2 weeks, they've won convincingly. Well, not convincingly, sorry. They won convincingly against the Titans, and then they were able to win that controversial game against Newcastle, but they did it with only one playmaker. They're going to get their playmakers
Well,
to
they
come
totally
back in.
changed the way they play. They just play a power game without Braden Trindle and Nico. And the thing is, Blake Brayley's been running from dummy half. I don't see him run like that when the halves are there. Which we saw that clip. He just catches and passes. But he's been running out of dummy half. They've been playing off more offloads. Simplified the way they're playing.
They had heaps of changes. Like they had Royce Hunt in the back row.
they had a
they
million
were
blokes out.
plenty of people
Yeah.
out of position as well. So they get Teague Wilden back, which is a big one
Braden
for them.
Trindle.
Braden Trindle back, obviously, at halfback.
Fitzy
Your
came
own,
out.
Hazelton.
Hazelton.
Fitzy came out and said Nico will be back before the semis, which is a big in for him. If he can get 1 or 2 games in before the semis.
So they got next week Warriors, and then they got Manly.
Manly last. Yeah.
Gee, it's hard to leave Daniel Atkinson out of the team the way
Jeez,
he's
hasn't
been
he
playing.
been
Going good.
Sounded really good.
You could see a club coming along and pinching him away from
he was at
Cronulla to play
Melbourne.
in the halves
He was at Melbourne.
Yep.
and played mainly in the outside backs.
Outside backs.
And played lock. He said his first game was at lock. So I was asking him about that. You know, the advantage of someone like him being versatile till he finds a club where he can sort of cement a 5'8" position. And he said, yes, had a game at lock.
Absolutely. I caught the chat that we did pre-game with Nico on the weekend, and he said the break, while it's not ideal getting injured, actually probably freshened him up a bit.
Yeah.
You know, a good thing. He's taking a step back out of the media and all that. Like, you know, Nico's been so open about his private life, and which is great.
Do you reckon it'll wear you down?
Oh, well, I think that's what's happened. And then, of course, what happened is, the Origin didn't go the way he most really wanted, and then all of a sudden it explodes on you. People just turn on you.
Danny Widler.
Answer it.
Danny, you're live on Friday the 8th. Have you got any mail for us?
I'm definitely not getting an email from Freddie or Joey or you.
Right. Well,
What are you ringing for?
9 years.
all right. Are you going to the Hall of Fame tonight?
I won't be there, no.
Right.
Who's going to be the next immortal?
Who's going to be the next immortal?
It should be you, Freddie.
Thanks, mate.
Got nothing else to add? Or do you want me to call you back?
Call me back when you get a chance.
Danny Widler, 9 News. See ya.
Mr. Exclusive.
That is not a good name to come on.
No.
If you've had a big weekend on the tiles,
Well, fortunately,
and
I
you
haven't.
wake up and you go Monday,
Yeah.
Denny Riley, you go,
Just lastly on this,
where have I been? What have I done?
if you run, I like that you point out, I know I've been going like a broken record. There's just something in my gut that says Manly could do something at the end of the year.
Well, they have players who can go whack, big game player. Cherry Evans has done it at all levels. Turbo Tom's a freak of nature. Who else?
You got Croker back in the side, is he?
Kroger's back.
Yeah.
You got Ola Kuatu.
Yeah.
Now they're a dangerous.
They got
team.
Aloiai back this week too. Up
If
front.
there's an outside of the Rooster, Penrith, and Melbourne who could win it, it'd be Manly.
Mm-hmm.
So they need everything to go their way.
Well, that's
They
right.
need- they
Once
need
again,
everything.
like you said, they're going to have to win.
Four-
They're going to have to beat Cronulla.
four
They're gonna
big
have to
games in
win-
a row.
Yeah, they're going to have to win some big games.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can win that many big games.
Well, it might not be as clean cut as it looks on paper. The finals almost here, and it'll be fantastic to bring you all the action live on Nine's Wild Water Sports. Premiers. Could they win 4 in a row? Surely not.
Oh, this is their biggest test. Nathan, it's a big one, Nathan. Have you heard how bad? Have you spoken to Nathan?
Well, they said he'll be back for the semis.
Yeah, I know that, but have you spoke to him?
No.
How bad it is?
Do you know what it actually is?
He did a problem. He did it at the start of the season. So he's played with it the whole year. Then he did his hammy.
Right.
And at the same time, he was working on his shoulder. And but it's the opposite one that he did in 2021.
Do you think he heard it?
Instability, they say. Instability in the
He
shoulder.
tried
What
to
does that mean,
shoulder
like
charge.
ligaments or-
He tried to shoulder charge Nelson early in the game. I wonder whether he aggravated it.
Yeah,
then.
right. What did he sublux it, I think, when he sort of
I
went
don't-
down?
I don't
Mate,
know.
I subluxed mine in 2003, the year we played Penrith in the grand final. Mate, it hurt so much.
What's
you-
sublux?
Sublux where it pops out and
Pops out
pops
and
back
pops
in.
Oh, right.
And sort of just does all damage around it. Mate,
So could he potentially, if it was finals this week, could he needle that and play?
yeah.
Okay.
He could.
Well, with a sublux you can. It's just painful and you just
So
got to noodle it.
The problem is with the sublux, so your shoulder sits in, there's like, in the socket, there's claws. But when you sublux it, if you chip or break those claws, then
It pulls all the ligaments and that. Like you can do tearing and all that sort of. It all depends how much damage it does when it actually goes in and out. But like sometimes you can be lucky, but there'd be damage somewhere.
It's been lovely to see Mary providing such TLC.
Isn't his life going awful, Nathan?
He's flying. I saw they took
Killing
some helicopter trip to some remote beach the other day,
Freddie just
hand in hand.
young love. It's just pure. It's the pure. Not
It's
much
what?
has been made of that public show of affection. Wandering in for an X-ray or a scan, he's just holding hands. The pure young love. It's beautiful.
You're a creep.
I need to lay down.
He'd be a model boyfriend too, Nathan, I reckon.
Oh yes. You imagine being a father-in-law,
Come
bringing
here.
the boyfriend home. Who is it? Nathan Cleary? Anyone else? Same as when Jake Trbojevic. You just go, thank you. This man is looking after my daughter.
So Luai gets the number 7 again.
Who's coming in?
Andrew Johns.
Todd Carney. Mitchell Pearce.
Mitchell's turn.
Brad Fiddler.
What if
Mitchell's
Ben
come
Cousins
good.
walked through the door?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's clean now. He's
Big horse from the west.
big horse. Big
So,
fan.
so Luai, back in the 7, he's played his best football, maybe ever, at halfback this year.
Didn't he elevate himself this year when Nathan was out?
Good player.
I didn't know he was that good a player. And yourself and Gus have been saying all along he's a halfback. I didn't know he was that good. I didn't know he could do that at halfback. So once again, I was wrong. Sorry, Jerome. And his performance at the wave pool. Just
You look what these boys. You look what these boys have done at Canterbury and stuff, and a few of the fellas that have left. Capel actually when he left, and you can see why Penrith was so hard to beat.
Well, the best players in the comp have all been ex-Penrith players.
Well, I've got to say, Penrith made them the best players.
Yeah.
Like that group, the way they sort of went about their standards and training, and and obviously the coaches as well, like Serraldo leaving and doing something in Canterbury.
Andrew Webster was he out
Andrew
there?
Webster went over the Warriors. That's right.
Been an amazing effort the last 5 years.
It just shows you, mate. If you get good players, they want to just rip in and have a go.
They're not as settled as they have been, though. They've made a change on the wing. Taruva's gone out. Laurie's come in. They're struggling in the centres.
It was too
James
much for
Fisher
Taruva.
Harris.
The other one was Tungle. Tungle's form was, he wasn't doing much. He was getting a bit unreliable, but on the weekend,
Fisher Harris
scored a
was
great
groin.
try. Fisher Harris.
He's had a groin, hasn't he?
But it was a
The back
different-
rowers
we
haven't
come
been
out-
there.
Scott Sorensen's done his hammy. Who was the other back row?
Liam Martin's back this week.
Liam Martin.
He got suspended.
Dylan Edwards he hurt himself in Origin. Mate, they've been up for a long time.
I feel like they're extending themselves.
it's
whether
been amazing.
I think it's a bridge too far for them this year.
No, I wouldn't say that.
So what did you say about Taruva? What was your comment about him?
I just thought Taruva, one thing, he's been up for a couple of years. I just don't think his form's been great.
Okay.
He's been dropping a bit of ball. It's just been a little bit unreliable. I think Dane Laurie's been sitting there. He's ready to go. He's hungry and doing a fantastic job in different positions. So they had to find a position. Dane Laurie hasn't played on the wing.
No.
Well, you come over as a 5'8", really, a bit of fullback, a few other positions, but they've just had to put him in because he's been going so good.
Alamotti's on the extended bench this week.
He's the one that they're missing. He's
They
been
might get
going.
him.
It all comes down to Nathan. If Nathan's 75% fit, then they're
I think also Harris, Fisher Harris, making sure they're all fit. Mitch Kenny's out for 2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks.
2 weeks
yeah.
or 1 week?
I thought it was 2 weeks.
Not sure. But they,
Yeah, but actually, Dylan Edwards, I don't know if you were home. Dylan Edwards, he was hobbling.
He didn't
I don't know if it was the strapping was
he
too
wasn't.
tight.
He wasn't moving freely at all.
No, he ran up before the end of the warm-up. He was
went-
up,
he went
up
off.
in there. I said he changed colour strapping. I don't know if that was true.
Boys, 100% footy Monday night. Gus and Gal didn't mince their words about the latest on Latrell Mitchell. Let's have a listen to their comments, and the boys can respond.
That Latrell behaves the way Latrell behaves because he's allowed to behave like that. The club never pull him up. Has anyone at the club actually pulled him in, sat him down, and said, mate, you can't do these things. You can't do certain things. You're not doing the right thing by yourself.
Who has got control over Latrell? He's saying, Wayne, I need you for my control. Well, Latrell's a grown man. I mean, he's not a boy anymore. He's not a rookie. You know, and that's just an excuse to say, oh, well, if Wayne comes, I'll behave myself. You know, you've got to take accountability for your own actions. No one's reined him in. They've let him be Latrell, the Latrell that he wants to be, and that's why you've had all these problems with him over the years.
So it seems the club is going to take the NRL to issue over this suspension that the NRL was insisting that we think it's a game, we don't quite know officially yet, but the NRL was going to insist it's served next year. The club is going to take the NRL to task and say, no, it should be served this year, even though he's injured.
It's hilarious.
Where the game I thought didn't help Latrell is early in the season. Latrell made some comments about the Ezra Mam case, which you can't do as a player. The one thing sometimes I think our game does is have this thing where we don't want to, put people off. And I thought they let Latrell down by allowing him to do that. And I think therefore thinking that he was above the game. And I think it's come back and bite him.
We've seen the good and the bad in Latrell this year. Look, his performance in Origin 2 was just that is the Latrell Mitchell that everyone in the game wants to see. Yet it seems like there's so much other baggage and controversy that seems to surround him.
Well, he lives his life very public through his social media, and he had a big stink with Anthony Mundine, who they're two blokes that
Him and Choco.
they've done incredible job, in raising profile and for Indigenous people. I know Latrell does a lot off the field and goes out west a lot. He was actually out west at Dubbo, doing things, helping out. But at the end of the day, there's things you just can and can't do. And I thought the league let him down at the start of the season, and they blurred that line. And I think he's just a bit like Gal said, just been let do what he wants to do.
You were the big personality and the big player in your teams. You didn't take liberties,
Sometimes I did.
did you?
Yeah. Looking back, sometimes I did. Carried on.
But the club, there wasn't a set of rules for you and the others at Newcastle,
Sometimes
was there?
there was.
Was there?
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Is that the case here?
Well, it's hard to say. From the outside looking in, you'd say yes. But there's times I look back and I wish I would have slapped myself in the face.
Okay.
Some of the carry on I did. So it's hard for me to sit here and comment because I don't want to sound like a
in
hypocrite.
hindsight, you're saying that you're saying
No, well,
you regret some of those circumstances. Latrell may well feel the same way.
When he gets older and wiser, maybe. But anyone who thinks a set of rules is the same for everyone in a rugby league or a team sport, it's bullshit.
Well,
Because
Wayne
if-
says that all the time. He says everyone's got a different length noose.
Of course there is.
You got Alan Langer and you got someone else who's playing up. That's just life. But at the moment, I think
But definitely, I had more rope than anyone else. And I should have got tugged plenty of times.
mate, one of the benefits I had starting my career was with Gus.
Yeah.
So he just
When you
if you
hear...
overstepped the line, there was always a line, and the players actually had the line as well. I've got stories about Roy Simmons and those blokes pulling me up.
Yeah.
They'd go. I started with men and had a great coach that cared for me a lot, and straight away that set you on a path.
That's a really good point. There doesn't seem to be anyone within that playing group at South Sydney who is experienced and established enough to be able to pull him back.
Well, a
in.
lot of the senior players get moved on a year or two before they're finished. Whether they go to England, it's just the way the salary cap is at the moment. So you haven't got those old hardheads who even stay behind and play reserve grade for a year or two when they finish NRL.
Yep.
But it's just the way of the world.
All right, more Latrell drama. I suppose Wayne gets there next year and we'll see how that whole thing transpires. But they're not going to sack him. People saying that he could get punted. That's not going to happen.
No. No, he's too good a player.
There's no,
If he was a fringe player, he'd be
not many
sacked.
Latrells.
And it's just reality. And people say, oh, no, it doesn't happen. It happens in any organisation.
So we love a behind-the-scenes documentary. Well, Nine is part of a new documentary behind the scenes of the Canberra Raiders NRLW team in their inaugural season last year, and you'll be able to see it on 9 and 9 Now.
And we're not just going to be one of those teams that just happy to be there. We've got a premiership to win.
We're building a legacy for a 6 or 7 year old that aspires to play for the Raiders.
They walk down the street and there's people calling out their names.
I'd like to offer you your contract today and make it all official.
We've got something really special here.
They're not chicks that put on footy boots, they're rugby league players.
It's not going to come easy. It's going to be hard. This is our house and we protect it.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Let's go Raiders!
I didn't know I was pregnant with Nevaeh till the day that I had it.
This is Nevaeh's TikTok. Oh, my leg!
I just lost the love of the game.
For us as a team, to show everyone else outside Canberra that we can do this.
I sat there with a towel on my head, just crying.
They're making us look poor. We're better than them. Good teams find a way to win.
A team of girls who left their families to chase a dream, fulfill their dream.
Is it worth it?
Hell yeah, it was worth it.
We are Raiders!
Yes, get the popcorn out. So Jemima Taufa, she missed the Origin. Has she been playing?
She missed the Origin.
She didn't play in the Origin series.
Really?
Yeah, and I was meaning to find out what happened to her, but I don't know.
Actually, she did, what'd she do? She did a big injury.
Did she?
Yeah, she had a Rico.
Yeah, she had an ACL, didn't
Last year, yeah. Yep.
Right. Hope she's back. Would she be back for the NRLW? You don't know. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, she played
Has
last
she been playing?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she played last
She's my favourite. She's a gun.
Mm.
Absolute gun.
She's the Jake Trebojevic.
Oh.
She's so tough.
Just runs a bit faster. So, NRLW, Sharkies unbeaten at the top of the ladder. Roosters only the one loss. They're in second spot. Now, Para, they struggled all through last year. They're up in third and Brisbane 2-2 in fourth position. What have you observed about the NRLW?
I'm been disappointing with my Knights.
Mate, they're missing
Caitlin Johnson-Green.
Yeah, the front row. She's out for
been
the
out.
season, done a
Jeez,
medial.
missed her.
Oh.
They've missed her dearly. They just get a bit panicky, the Knights, when things don't go their way. Cronulla were good on the weekend. They were strong. The Roosters have got the stars, so...
I called this game.
Isabel Kelly.
Isabel Kelly, she was a different... I've got to say, Tegan Berry in that game, she pretty much carried the Dragons.
Well, Tegan Berry was the difference the week before up in Newcastle.
Mate, she's a
good
fullback. Plays like a front rower.
Tegan
She's
Berry
taking
was-
hit-ups and just...
She was only the best player in the comp last year. She was absolutely
She's still
sensational.
a baby. She's 19 or 20.
Well, they've got a great group of young girls coming through that Illawarra area. There was a heap of them in the New South Wales under-19s women's team, and they won convincingly. And so a lot of them will come through that team, I reckon, the Dragons.
Sam's back. Sam Bremner. She's back. She's playing for
Sam
Chooks.
Bremner.
Yep.
Yeah, her and Tegan Berry on the weekend went hard at each other. Two both superstars.
Not a bad side, the Roosters, in men's and women's.
Yeah, Millie.
Star packed.
Millie's on more than you are. Oh, hang on, that's the exaggeration.
Come on, let's not.
She's on a tenth of what Freddie's.
Did she get all the 3 apartments and cars straight in as well?
Let's not exaggerate it.
So the NRL Hall of Fame dinner tonight, let's not spend too much time on it because this is going to date, of course, but we know there's been all those great Queensland players who've been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that'll be official later tonight. So just something interesting I looked up before we came in here, and we're talking about the immortal debate. There'll be another immortal inducted tonight. The rules changed, so that makes Cam Smith available, so I think the writing's on the wall there. But this move for GI and Thurston and Slater and Cronk and Smith, etc., all going to the Hall of Fame, that's an acknowledgement of that great era of Queensland superiority. Do you know Darren Lockyer captained that Queensland team throughout that 8-series period more than Cameron Smith did?
Yeah, I would have thought that.
5 series to 3.
Yeah, I would have thought that.
You've got to remember, like after the 8, they went and won another 5.
So they lost 14, they won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, this try here saved Lockie's Origin career. That's 2007.
Six.
If he didn't score that, there mightn't have been no Darren Lockyer.
Started the run.
And you've got to say, Lockyer, he went from being the world's best fullback to the world's best 5'8".
He's a gun.
It's amazing. It's amazing effort.
So I'm just sort of thinking that I think there's only one immortal. Do we know if there's going to be one or two? Or?
No idea.
There's one. Well, I think there's one.
I don't know.
I was just wondering that if they wanted to provide that acknowledgement of that great Queensland era, then maybe Lockyer and Smith.
So, also with the panel, which there's been discussion about the panel, and there's no current players or no immortals, and they're all journalists. It'd be interesting their point of view from you've got a Ron Coote who's back in the 70s, and then all of a sudden do you jump forward to a Darren Lockyer? Is there anyone? Peter Sterling?
Kenny?
Fittler? But there's a few there in and around where journalists might have a different idea on who they think the next immortal should be.
Are you comfortable with a panel of journalists who have never played being responsible to make these decisions, Brad?
So when the 8th was, and the next 5 or so they did. So what are they up to now? 14, 13? Yeah, so they did
14.
5 more with Mal and that group. They did some pre-war and...
Yeah, that was the induction of
and who was on that
quite a
panel?
number.
Were there
Gus
players
and
in
Wayne
that?
Bennett amongst them.
Oh,
Gus was an instrumental figure in
Rabs, Bozar, Bob Fulton.
Yeah, right.
Graham Langlands, they were on it.
So they're living immortals at the time?
Yes.
I know you don't want to say too much about it, but are you disappointed that you won't have a say in the induction of the latest immortal? Do you not? And yourself and Wally and Mal are the only 3 surviving immortals and don't get a say?
I think it's disrespectful. I haven't had a phone call. Not one phone call about... Actually, on Monday, I didn't know there was another immortal being inducted. I thought it was just a Hall of Fame.
Well, that's outrageous. That's outrageous. You haven't been called to be told that you're not going to be consulted.
I got called Monday about my duties on Wednesday night, that I'll be up on stage for the announcement of an immortal. I didn't even know there was going to be another immortal inducted on Wednesday night. And I thought it was just a Hall of Fame.
Well, I actually thought that too. But you weren't told before this that you weren't going to be consulted with respect to who's to be inducted either.
No, not myself, not Wally, not Mal. Right. I know they're disappointed. It's disrespectful.
Yeah. I've never played footy. I know Rabs is
disappointed. Rabs is very disappointed.
If you're going to change the goalposts, you should tell the people that are affected by it. And I'm only a commentator on the game. I would never expect anybody to take an opinion of somebody who's never played the game to take that on board to the extent that it's only a panel full of journos who are deciding this. I find it very, very strange. Very, very strange. Anyhow, all those Hall of Fame announcements will be made official tonight. And I know you take your responsibilities very seriously with all this, so I can imagine, and I think it's pretty obvious how disappointed you are. Thursday night footy, back to Leichhardt. Tigers versus Manly. Now, I didn't realise Luke Brooks hadn't played it.
No.
I suppose it's only his first year, isn't it? Yeah. They're saying they're going to boo him. They're not going to boo Brooksy. They're not going to boo him, are they?
They booed him when he played there. Yeah. Of course they're going to boo him.
Oh, come on.
What's wrong with a boo? What do you like about a boo?
I don't know. Poor old Brooksy.
I don't mind a good boo.
Anyway, Manly win, won't they?
Yeah, Manly win. Close.
They're pretty good, the Tigers. Man, Lockie Galvin.
They're good at players, eh?
Well, you know what? He goes after the game. He goes after it. He wants to win. Just then gets the ball, demands it. That's the problem. It's the rest. Their team relies on him. He's 19.
Geez, wasn't that a bit of a charity for old Jakey boy?
I just didn't want to see him with no gear on.
So if Manly win, and only on a provisional basis, but they'll be within a point of the top 4 after tomorrow night. Friday night footy. Look, the Broncos aren't totally out of this yet either. Up against Para.
How long's Walsh out for? Did he have an operation? Broken hand, didn't he?
Broken hand.
I was swimming. Metaphorically.
Cobbo's back. Well, they're good before the bye.
They can't make it.
Brisbane play.
They can't make it.
Well, they played the Cowboys before the bye and flogged them, didn't they?
Yeah, in the second half. They can make the 8.
Just not
Yeah,
the
they can
Cowboys.
make
Jake Clifford last week.
Play good, eh?
He should be there. work with Jake when he was at Newcastle. There's a real player there. Maybe he reaches that potential.
Well, Chad Townsend's going. They got Dearden.
Broncos played Dolphins in Melbourne last 2 rounds. They have to win them all.
No.
Yeah, no go. No gone. They're gone.
Saturday night footy. Live and free here on 9. It's just a footy-a-thon. Got all the women's games as well. Just put the TV on Thursday night and don't move.
It's been rating well Saturday night,
Yeah.
I'm to say.
Well, this might break all the records. Souths versus Newcastle.
You know what? Newcastle were good. They were down 10-0 at PointsBet.
After 8 minutes.
It was a bludger of a day. It was 50k wind.
I saw that, yeah.
It rained before everyone got out there. It was just a bludger. And you know what? They were 10-0 down. They turned around. They should have won. They were in it right up to their eyeballs. And I'm trying to think what was the difference. Ronaldo Mulitalo scored. He's a good player.
He's a good player.
God, scored in the corner. They were gone, the Sharks. He just come up with a really good try.
Blockers. All the talk of blockers.
You know what? Don't be in front of the ball. Don't be in front of the ball. I'm happy with what the league have done.
Can I just go into kicking a field goal? So this is only what I used to do. So if we had to kick a field goal, it's 5 minutes to go. I never played Golden Point, I don't think. Anyways, so we're on attack. I would stand behind the ruck, 15 to 20 metres. I'm standing behind the ruck, and I'm got 3 forwards in front of me, and I'm saying, you run at Cameron Smith. You come here, you run at Brian Norrie. Yeah, one more. And then if I got a quick play of the ball on the first one, I'd kick a field goal. If I didn't get a quick play of the ball, I wouldn't do a field goal. I'd just kick to the corner and wait to get the ball back. We'd get the ball back, and I'd do the same. I'd get behind the ruck, and I'd be telling them where to go. You run here, you run here. Run here. You have to have players in front of you.
I never had players in front of me.
But I'm saying this is what I'd do.
Yeah, no, I'm just
And I'd stand in front and I'd point them, you do this, you do that, you do that.
I'd never have players.
It's impossible not to have players in front.
I didn't want any players in front. I wanted it clear. Just give me the ball and I'd just wait. I'd never kick when people think I was going to kick.
Yeah,
I very rarely, in any of my sort of, I think of any of my field goals, they're never on tackles where 3 people would just run at me. I'd either kick it early or an early tackle count or, just random.
I did hear a good point about this, though. I can't remember who it was. It might have been on the continuous call team at the weekend. Those blockers, what if the dummy half looks up and the defence races up and the dummy half can run? He's got to have someone who's got to be there to support him. Yeah, but so they're entitled to be there.
No. Yeah, at the start. But once the ball goes behind them...
But what are they to do?
They're now 3 metres in front. They need to run through the defence line. If you look at the goal where they kicked it, there was a Cronulla player who was actually in front. The ball went behind him. He ran through, I think it was Toby Rudolph, through the defence line. Okay. Mate, you can't be in front of the ball and impede on the game. Like, it's... we've just put up with it for so long.
So you're not happy? So okay. They're in the way, those two, Freddie, in your opinion, those two Newcastle guys?
Yep. Another analogy, right? We're winning by 4 points and we're coming out of trouble. My goal is to kick to the corner to give the ball back in there, close to their try line. Same thing. I'm not involved. I'm behind the ruck and I'm talking to Bedsy saying, use Josh Perry to get there. Paso, you go to the left side, I get the left side. And so I'm behind. And then it might be on play 3, it might be on play 5. But if I saw a quick play of the ball, I looked and saw the fullback and the winger up, I'd kick it then. But same setup. I would be up behind the ruck 5 or 10 metres directing. I didn't want to get involved with the play because my job was to organise my forwards and to kick downfield. So naturally, I would always have players in front of me and usually 3 forwards, 2 front rowers and a middle forward.
I was the other way. I reckon I got the ball off a block or behind someone less than a handful of times my whole career.
You just feel impeded if there's something.
I feel impeded. I don't remember ever getting a block. I think I remember seeing once where I either set up a try or scored a try where I actually got the ball as a block. I just never did. I never threw blocks.
What about when you got headbutted by Villasanti? Weren't you behind the play of the ball there?
No.
No? I just remember you being back.
I remember he was laying on the ground.
I was back. And old matey elbowed me in the head.
No, but I'm saying, were you about to kick
you might be right there. You might be right. I might have had a blocker. Actually, you know what I used to do? Because I used to come from the left.
And come to the right.
And swing around to the right and kick all the time. So whoever was, if there were any blockers, I wouldn't have seen.
But also, when we played, we didn't have the wrestling which goes on now. We had quicker play the balls. But still, I'm only talking about my experience. That would be my starting point. And from there, I would be bossing them around, either for kicking long or especially field goals, and just plant myself behind.
I think I was always nervous of kicking them in the head, like kicking the ball into their head.
Like a bag.
You know what I mean? Like, and you're right, I always swung. So if anyone was there, they most probably threw the line and maybe it had already impeded before I got the ball.
They wouldn't dare get in front of my kicks because they would get some sort of bollocking.
What do you think Blocker would say about blockers?
Blocker?
I couldn't help but think, all this talk of blockers, I'm thinking, what do you reckon Blocker would say? Do it in his voice, Joey.
What do you mean I've got to be behind the ball? That's my job. I'm in front. Man, if anyone touched Benny, I'd put him to sleep. They're going to sleep. Nine eyes.
Hey, Block.
What a legend. Oh, we love
You touch Benny, you're gone.
What a great player, Benny
You're
Lawes.
gone. I'm shaking.
And it must be a reaction because he go boom, and then he goes, he hits them on the way down.
Did you play with Blocker?
Yeah. I went Kangaroo Tour.
Oh, of course.
Played Start of Origin with him.
Good fun.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Isn't he the best?
You know what? Like I played Origin 18. No one talked to me. Like I walked in the team, literally no one talked to me. The coach barely talked to me. And anyway, Blocker was the only one that talked to me. So I went down and played in Melbourne. I hung around with the 19s, went to training. He was the only one that talked to me.
Really?
Yes.
What did he say?
I don't know. But he was the one I'd chat with. Because there were no other Penrith blokes in the team. Cardi might have been in the team. But, mate, in those days, you had to make
to earn
effort.
your stripes.
You had to earn it. No one spoke to you.
That's a good left hand, that. Got a bit of power behind that one. Oh, dear. Sunday footy. This is going to be a great game down in Wollongong. The Wollongong Ocean will be pumping.
Geez, Ben Hunt's playing well.
He's got 30 try assists this year.
He's a good player.
You know what's good? Like at his age, you can nearly sort of fold back and play a little bit and pick the games where you really want to be physical. And he's worked out, you know what? My best game is physical.
Dummy.
And he hasn't avoided it.
Dummy, duck,
He's a great
right
defender,
foot
isn't he?
step.
And he just puts his head in. Like he has to play tough.
I quite like Jack Bird playing 5'8".
They're running 5'8". Running 5'8". Don't overcook it. You don't need two ball plays in the halves. Ben Hunt can do it all.
Especially when you've got a fullback swinging. Like he plays a bit. He can do that role.
Sloan. He's a good player.
I tell you, he's had a great year, Jacob Little. He's played so well.
He should
And
be
you
in
know
the
else-
Tigers. Mate, seriously.
You know who else played good this year? Sewer.
Yeah.
Any try that needs to be scored when they're winning, he scores those tries.
Mate, Zach Lomax has killed it.
Absolutely.
He's not going to be there next year.
Two sets of identical twins in the same team.
Couchman.
Fino's and the Couchmans.
Fino.
Fino.
That's nearly coach of the year job by Flenner.
If he makes it.
And his conditioners, his support staff, he's ever whipped them into shape. Their body shapes have all changed.
Have I told that story of the Fino brothers?
No.
So I was coaching the under-18s, possibly New South Wales team, and both those boys were at the camp. So only one of them made it, and I'm not even sure. I think it was Max that made it. So I had the phone number. So I'm ringing Max to tell Max he's in the New South Wales team. Then I had to ring Matt a lot later to tell him actually he wasn't. So I rang Max and Matt answered. I felt awful. I was all pumped up to give a enlightening speech.
If you're on, well, our producer Connor, he's an identical twin.
Yeah.
And I see him down at Bronte, and I talk to him about work, and it's his brother.
And he
That
just
much
goes
alike?
along with it.
Oh, mate, if you're an identical twin, would you cut your hair?
Identical. I'd be identical.
They're identical. The Safidi brothers, their haircuts are the same.
Could you
the
imagine
Couchmans are the
could you
same.
imagine the shenanigans you could do?
Oh,
Can you imagine Andrew?
I know what you're thinking too.
What are you thinking?
Shenanigans.
What do you reckon you could get away with?
Okay, here's one for you. Do you reckon identical twins have ever married identical twins?
It would have happened.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I know.
for sure.
No, that's freakish.
Do you think that would have happened?
There's an app for that stuff.
What's it called?
Kinky.com.
There's a weird app now, like a grinder type of app that's for weird stuff.
What's it called, Andrew?
Oh, he'd know.
Oh, it's
Find
great.
out what it's called.
Drop it like it's hot.
It's great. To
Drop it like it's hot. Let me find
It's
out.
great to be. We should rename this show Weirdo, Freddie and the Weirdo. If Freddie's an immortal tonight, do we have to rename the show?
Yeah.
The 8th and the 15th.
That doesn't sound the same, the 15th.
I won't be an immortal.
That's us for our return show. It's wonderful
He's
to be
going to
back.
find this app.
Yeah, you can do it when the
So
show's
our
over.
viewers are our best researchers. If anyone
yeah.
knows of identical twins have ever married identical twins.
What are you doing?
I'm ringing someone.
Okay, we were going to go. Bye-bye.
Another
We'll see
one.
you over the weekend.
This year, NRL on 9 is your one-stop shop for all footy.
That's right, Freddie. Not about the highlights. Action. 7 days a week.
Billy and Gus podcast, get that on your drive on the way home. Immortal Behaviour. Grab a seat on the couch for that. And, of course, my favourite, Freddie in the 8.
The best footy brains, the biggest games.
Don't trust the algorithm. Subscribe to NRL on 9 and get all your entertainment there.